Digital. Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Drive Time. Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn Sullivan. Jaguars Drive Time starts right now.
Happy Wednesday morning. Good morning and welcome in to Jaguars Drive Time. A little chilly here in Jacksonville as we get ready for the Steelers to come to town on Sunday, the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. But John, call me crazy. I know it sounds a little crazy. I was on a radio program last night and they said, when you look at these two rosters, they're really different. And I was like, yeah, but there's something about this game. You really can't rule anything out with this matchup. The Jaguars have beaten the Steelers 14 times in franchise history. I know the rosters are different. I know the losing streak. I know the Steelers are undefeated, but there's something about this week where I think the Jaguars will be competitive on Sunday. Am I crazy?
Ashlyn, you're crazy. No, you're not. I get the history. I get everything. And I do think the Jaguars will compete. I think they have found something in the last couple of weeks that they like in the way they play. They found a formula offensively to maintain the ball, stay in games, and they're playing better defensively. All of that said, as much as we said last week about the Packers being the toughest task, I still think that's true, but the Steelers are the second toughest task of the season. I think it's closer than national guys predict, but it's a tough one.
The difference is the quarterback.
It is for sure.
I mean, forget the rosters for a moment. It's the quarterbacks. The Jaguars have some nice young talent. I don't disagree that the Steelers are a deeper roster. Okay, they are. But it isn't the rosters that are so different. It's the quarterbacks. You have a guy that is among the best to have ever played the game, who didn't practice, wasn't in the facility at all for Pittsburgh last week, and had 333 yards and 4 touchdowns with no time on task. It's the quarterbacks.
Yes, they do look entirely different as far as history in the NFL goes. As we get into big things, we'll talk much more about those quarterbacks. Big thing one is Big Ben, that quarterback. He's playing at an MVP level, but the Jags have always played well against him and the Steelers. Can they do that, though, with so many young guys on defense? The head coach has a lot of respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole.
For me, from a playing standpoint, from people that I know that have coached there, from players, that have played there, I just think that it's one of the things they've done they've done a lot of, they've done a hell of a job, and they've been a good football team for, you can talk about decades. There'll be times where, they may be a little bit down, but like I think you brought up a great point, not many.
Big thing, too, Jaguars MVP. Ben Roethlisberger has a case to be the MVP of the league this year. But who is the Jaguars MVP with 7 games left to play? Could it possibly be a wide receiver playing at a very high level?
Every time he's called on, to go in there and do something, he makes something happen, whether it's a kickoff return, which he's done before for us in the past, or it's a, punt return, like he did yesterday. He's always up for anything. He's always got a good attitude. I'm talking about when he likes to play. He likes to be on the field. He likes to practice. He's really come a long way. And I think he'll continue to get better. I really do. I think he's, he can do a lot of different things. So I think he has value.
That was head coach Doug Marrone talking about wide receiver Keelan Cole, who's coming off a great game against the Green Bay Packers, as we go to big thing 3, which is Rebound. Jaguars' offensive line play well until the game was on the line last week, and then it did not go so well. They have to rebound and play well if the Jags are ever going to end this losing streak this season. A lot of the pressure lies on this offensive line. Jawan Taylor and Cam Robinson need to own their expectations. And Brian, I go back to you. This is on a smaller scale with big things, but I start here with big thing 3. I was talking with Tony Baselli on Monday, and he said that is the hardest thing about being an offensive lineman, they have a great game. The spotlight's on them. Jawan Taylor goes skating, and anyone is going to remember just that one play, and they're going to completely outright anything that they did previously in the game.
No doubt. However, and he's absolutely right in that they played a terrific game till that point, but that was the moment where the game was on the line. That's where great players are decided. When Tony Baselli needed to block Derek Thomas.
Do they bring extra pressure? No, it's a four-man rush on Luton, and they get to him.
He absolutely did. When the game was on the line, he was at his absolute best. So, yes, they both played better than people will perceive it. However, you can't change the fact that when the game was on the line, they didn't come through. That's got to change.
It does indeed. And John, now we go to quarterback talk with MVP so far of the league, Ben Roethlisberger, playing it at a very elite level. And it's definitely crazy to go through an entire week, no game plan except at home, no practice. And he had one of his best games of his career last week.
Yeah, and Brian's right. It's starting to take shape now in the second half of the season that Ben Roethlisberger should be up there with Patrick Mahomes and other MVP candidates. I want to go back to something Brian said at the very top, where the difference is all quarterbacks in this game. The difference is a lot quarterbacks, but the one thing that worries you about the Jaguars' chances this week is the fact that the Steelers' pass rush is basically what the Jaguars' pass rush was in 2017. TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward. This is a big-time front for Pittsburgh. The Jaguars' front is not playing like that at all in terms of their pass rush. That's what worries you about not being able to match some of the past Steelers-Jaguars matchups. Where does the pass rush come from to disrupt Ben Roethlisberger? If you don't do that, you're not going to beat this guy. He's playing at too high a level.
Let me interrupt just with this thought. One of the byproducts of having a quarterback as good as Ben Roethlisberger, for as long as they've had him, the same case be made for Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, right? And in the future, Patrick Mahomes, is that you can then spend your high picks on defensive linemen and pass rushers and just keep rotating them in. You know, we're talking about the Jaguars being down. They don't have the horses up front that they've had. Man, the Steelers just keep plugging him in and plugging him in and plugging him in. The benefit to having a quarterback as good as Ben, for as long as Ben has been that good, is that you're not spending any draft capital trying to augment him. It doesn't matter who the receivers are for Ben Roethlisberger. There's been a long list. Some have been great. Some have been no-names that have played great. I'll remind you that Antonio Brown was a sixth-round pick, right? You don't spend high capital on those guys. You spend it on guys that get it done in the trenches and that rush the passer. That's where the Jaguars need to get to if they want to create this level of sustained excellence that the Steelers have had. Get the quarterback. It's so incredibly vital. And then spend the rest of your time rotating, replacing, bringing in guys that rush the quarterback and make things happen.
It's a great point. They have the quarterback figured out, and now they can just plug and play and build around him, and it's definitely been successful so far with the Steelers. And I was just watching Good Morning Football, as I do every morning, and they were talking about how they don't know if the Steelers can go 16-0, and they were talking about this game kind of being a sleeper game where possibly the Steelers come in and don't take the Jaguars seriously. But John, we go back to last week and how hard they played against the Packers. You would think that's not the case in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. And I know Mike Tomlin earlier this week, I think it was yesterday, talked about the massive respect he had for the Jacksonville. He probably overplayed that a little bit, trying to make sure his team took this team seriously. But probably the worst thing in terms of the trap game element was the Jaguars playing so well last week. Because now all Mike Tomlin has to do is turn on the tape, and you'll see a team that played very hard. They gave the Packers a scare. So that will be an element this week. I'm not a big trap game guy, so I believe that talent usually wins out over trap game. And I think this is a really tough matchup because of the Steelers' defense and because of Ben Roethlisberger.
I think that Ben Roethlisberger is a guy who can make your life miserable if you can't get to him. And you know, one of the things about getting to him is that getting to him isn't enough. You've got to hit him and hit him hard to impact him. He's so big and so strong, you're not going to move him off the spot by getting close to him. He's going to stand there and stand there. Jack Del Rio told me in 2005 when the Jaguars were getting ready to play him for the very first time, and that was his second season. And analytics back then weren't a thing like they are now, so I'm sure they tracked this. But he had some rudimentary numbers he had hammered out one night we were doing part of his coach's show. And he said, look at this, look, the more they hit him, the more accurate he becomes. Well, I'm sure there's someone in the Jaguars analytics department that can bring us a number, show us a number that bears that out. And if you can't not just hit him, but knock him down, I mean, really hit him. And it's hard to do to a guy who's that big. He's so good. Your pass rush has got to be money. It was in 17 in that game where he threw 5 interceptions. They just kicked his butt. I don't know that the Jaguars can do that.
Big time challenge, to say the least, for this Jaguars defensive line on Sunday as they get ready to take on the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers right here in Jacksonville. When we come back, some Ashlyn Ask here on Jags Drive Time.
With over 100 years of experience, Duval Motor Company knows experience counts, both on the field and under the hood. That's why all of their service departments are staffed by certified professionals who take pride in servicing any make and model, not just the vehicles they sell. Keeping your vehicles on the road is what drives Duval Motor Company. They know how much you depend on your car, and you can depend on them to put service first. Any make, any model, any location. DuvalMotorCompany.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch, an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity. Hey Jags fans, we all know Duval is a big place, and you need to get a lot of mileage out of what you drive. That's why Duval Motor Company puts service first. They don't just sell great cars and trucks. Their service departments take care of your loved ones by providing maintenance and repair for every make and model, even the ones they don't sell. They've got all of Duval covered when it comes to your ride. Any make, any model, any location. DuvalMotorCompany.com. Jags Drive Time is presented in part by TIAA Bank. Created to serve, built to perform. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Fair and Fair reminds you to continue to wear a mask. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Fair and Fair, protecting you and your family since 1979. Back on Jags Drive Time, Wednesday morning, brought to you by the Duval Motor Company, and it is time for Ashlyn Ask, getting ready for some questions about Sunday's game right here in Jacksonville. Undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers, Jaguars on a losing streak. However, this franchise history of these two games, it is always interesting, that's for sure. So, Ashlyn Ask, number one, fellers, matchup we're watching on Sunday. Steelers roster, talented, deep, plug and play, multiple guys. Jaguars roster, there's some spots that are positive, there's some spots that need work. What is a matchup that we're watching on Sunday? Brian Sexton. Do you got an answer for me?
Yeah. I could only write this fast because you asked for it. But C.J. Henderson versus Juju Smith-Schuster. Also, the Clay Brooks kid, the rookie from Notre Dame, and Deontay Johnson. If you watched them at all last week, you saw, just a scary offense with those three wide receivers. And especially with the Clay Brooks kid mixing in around the back. His ability to go over the middle and make plays. Time is not something you want Ben Roethlisberger to have no matter who he's throwing to. But time with that kind of speed that gets down the field can mean big plays, and big plays can put this team in a hole fast. So C.J. Henderson and Sidney Jones, we gave them a lot of credit on Monday for the way that they played. Now they've got to take it a step further. So I'm watching the corners against the Steelers receivers.
I'm liking that. Got to have consistency with C.J. Henderson this week because, like you said, Ben Roethlisberger makes those offensive weapons even more dangerous, and a lot of them now household names because of him. All right, John, what are you paying attention to?
All right. I was scrambling a little bit because I thought Brian would go this way, so I wanted to go this way because Brian didn't go this way. And I was scrambling, so my Jawan Taylor last name has a little scrawl right there. So quick writing, Schlin.
Goodness.
But it's T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree, the pass rushers for the Steelers versus the Jaguars tackles. I agree with everything that Baselli and Brian said. Offensive tackle is the cruelest position in the NFL for this because if you give up one sack, you played a horrible game. And Baselli's point is always the pass rusher can play an awful game and get one sack if you slip down, and he's the defensive player of the week. But that's just the nature of the NFL. But regardless of all that, this matchup is absolutely vital. The Steelers' pass rush is as good as there is in the NFL. They lead the league in sacks. They also lead the league in turnovers, which is usually a sack-related statistic, as we all learned in 2017. You must protect Jake Luton when he's throwing to have any chance for James Robinson to get involved. So this is a key matchup to me.
For sure. Big week for Jawan Taylor and Cam Robinson to bounce back. I have Joe Hayden versus DJ Chark. Joe Hayden, one of the more respected cornerbacks in the NFL. A guy with a lot of experience, and I think this will be a great matchup to watch because this is one of the better cornerbacks that DJ Chark is going to go against this season. So we'll see if he is as productive as he has been the past couple of weeks. All right, Ashlyn Ask, number 2. Favorite Steelers memory. There are so many, and I'm talking to 2 of the right guys who have seen all of them, if not most of them. Favorite Steelers memory of the past years. This is kind of difficult to summarize on a whiteboard, so I'll give you guys some creative freedom to draw as you wish. I knew you'd like that one, John. All right, you know what? I can go first, because why not? 2017, 45-42. It was my first year here with the Jaguars. I was not traveling with the team yet, but I remember the team coming back for that huge pep rally, and it was one of the best memories I have had so far here with the Jaguars. This big time win. Leonard Fournette, Blake Bortles, awesome game. This was my favorite memory. What says you, Brian Sexton?
Well, and look, most people, especially people in your age group, will remember those games in 2017. So I'm going to take them back and give them a lesson in case they don't remember 1997. In 1997, the Jaguars played 2 games as an AFC Central opponent against the Steelers. The first was on Monday Night Football. It was the very first Monday Night Football game for the Jaguars and the very first Monday Night Football game in Jacksonville. And it just so happened it was the dramatic return of Mark Brunell, the young star quarterback who had been knocked out in the preseason. And the Jaguars won that game on the final play of the game when Norm Johnson, the Steelers kicker, lined up to kick what appeared to be a game-winning field goal. Clyde Simmons stuck a mighty paw up and blocked it. Safety Chris Hudson picked it up and raced down the sideline to score a touchdown. Bill Cowher reached back to punch at Chris Hudson. He wasn't ever going to do it, but everyone saw him do it. and the Jaguars won in unbelievable fashion. Then a few weeks later, the Jaguars went up to Pittsburgh. The time had just changed. The game went to overtime. It was dark. It was in Three River Stadium, which was a bull ring, okay? Loud. It felt dangerous. And the game went to overtime, and the Steelers and the Jaguars captains went to midfield, and the crowd hushed. And John will remember this. And it was dead quiet. And the official, you could hear him say, call it in the air. And he said, tails. And the coin hit the ground, and the official said, it is tails. And the stadium erupted. Steelers take the ball, go down the field, shovel pass to Jerome Bettis, and the bus goes in for the game-winning touchdown. To the best of my knowledge, it's the only time that a two-game series, so between division opponents, in NFL history in one season where both games ended on the final play of the game. It was the stuff, it was high drama. And there's a halftime piece this week about the Jaguars-Steelers rivalry. And I was asked to write it, and as I was sitting there writing it, I thought, my God, have I been a part of some amazing games and some incredible memories just between these two teams. So you asked me, you should have asked John first because I took about 4 minutes. But 1997 was as good as this series has ever been.
A trip down memory lane. Thank you for that, Brian. All right, John, top that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I figured Brian would go that route because that absolutely was. I think most people who were involved would say that was as competitive as that series has ever been. There's been huge Jaguars moments, but those two games were unbelievably good. I'm going to go with my guy Freddie T in 2000. He set the record for the most yards rushed against the Steelers in a game. The Jaguars were not in the playoffs in this season. They were starting their decline after the remarkable run. But Fred Taylor had, I've been doing this 25 years. It's still the most remarkable game for a running back I've ever seen. I forget what the exact end number was. It was 230-something that he rushed for. He was a hair away from 275 or 280. He almost broke another one. It was the only time I've ever seen a running back outrun defenders who had angles on him, good defenders with the Steelers who had angles on him. To me, it was the best I ever saw Fred Taylor play. It's why I believe he's a Hall of Famer. It was a remarkable night, and I know that's Fred's favorite Steelers memory, but it's also mine. It was my last time covering a game in Three Rivers. They later, it switched to Heinz Field, but it was a remarkable game, and part of this series' lore.
Let me jump in real quick and just put a little more color on it.
Mm-hmm.
On that, just for people's reference, it was the Jaguars' final trip to Three River Stadium. Fred had 234 yards that night and 3 rushing touchdowns, and he had another 10 or 15 yards and a receiving touchdown. And he walked out of Three River Stadium with the best performance that an opposing running back had ever had in that vaunted stadium. And it was a cold Sunday night broadcast with snow coming down at various points of the game. It was a Steelers kind of game, and Fred Taylor dominated. It was a great moment.
Love that. See how exciting this rivalry can truly be. We just shared some of those memories. And when we come back, we talk more about the Steelers matchup coming up in OZONE Snapshot.
Hey Jags fans, we all know Duval is a big place, and you need to get a lot of mileage out of what you drive. That's why Duval Motor Company puts service first. They don't just sell great cars and trucks. Their service departments take care of your loved ones by providing maintenance and repair for every make and model, even the ones they don't sell. They've got all of Duval covered when it comes to your ride. Any make, any model, any location. DuvalMotorCompany.com.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Joe Adib from Bono's. I just want to let you know that we have now reopened all of our dining rooms. We appreciate all the love that you have showed us during this crisis. For over 71 years, we have been here for you through good times and bad. Our award-winning barbecue and our unbelievable staff look forward to seeing you soon. Be safe.
Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity. Jags DriveTime is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes. Homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill. Everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit ADECOUSA.com.
Jaguars fans, you could win big alongside the home team when you buy a ticket to the Jaguars 50-50 raffle presented by Duval Motor Group. Even if you can't make it to the bank on game day, you can buy your tickets from anywhere in the state at Jaguars5050.com. As a bonus, tickets are buy one, get one prior to kickoff. One winner takes half of the jackpot and the remaining half benefits the Jaguars Foundation's charitable programs. Visit Jaguars5050.com today for more.
The OZONE.
We start right here in Jacksonville for OZONE Snapshot. Our guy Jeremy. When quarterback Gardner Minshew II's hand is fully healed, does he take back over as starter, John? Speaking of which, how long is he projected to be out?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, as long as Jake Luton plays as he has the last couple of weeks, and I think the way I answered this question was, as long as he doesn't falter, and so far to me he hasn't faltered. I've got a lot of questions about, well, he didn't play that well against Green Bay. People are overlooking the wind element of that. The coaching staff is not looking over the wind element, is not overlooking the wind element of that game. That was a huge factor. Look, they've come close to winning the 2 games in which he's started. I know the defense is playing better, but it's not a coincidence that the games have been closer with Jake Luton. I know the coaching staff doesn't think it's a coincidence. So I don't think, unless something happens where Luton's not playing the way he is, that they'll go back. And in terms of how close Gardner is, I don't know exactly, but I know Doug Marrone on Monday said he might throw this week, but doesn't expect him to be ready for this week. So it's not a factor this week.
I would answer Jeremy's question with a question, and that is, what are you missing with Gardner Minshew on the bench? I mean, what is not part of this offense with Gardner Minshew out of it? And the answer is nothing. So why would you make the change? This kid gives you the big arm. He's got enough mobility to keep things alive in the pocket. He's got great poise. We've seen that. I don't see why you'd even ask why Gardner Minshew would come back in. Isn't this obvious to everyone what this is at this point? Gardner Minshew had his chance. It didn't work. He's not the guy. He's not a franchise quarterback. Why go backwards? Let's move on and see what this kid has the rest of the season. And it's, that's the way I see this front office working. What is Jake Luton? What do we have? You know what you've got in Gardner.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the one
more
thing people
Jake
might think that's missing, that's not missing, is the mobility. People aren't seeing, they're used to seeing Gardner run around and think that that's the only way you can be mobile. To me, Luton has showed what Brian said. He's shown some mobility in the pocket to avoid pressure in key situations. So I don't think they're actually missing that as much as people might think.
Completely agree. And then you look at that touchdown pass to Keelan Cole in Green Bay win, zipped it right on the money to Keelan Cole in pressure. That kind of throw, you don't know if Gardner Minshew makes that type of throw. So you know, pros and cons of mobility to that big arm, I think, in that situation. You want to Luton in the pocket in that instance. All right, we go to North Augusta, South Carolina. RV Jag asked John, is it too early to re-sign wide receiver Keelan Cole? He might not be a superstar, but he is a great number 2 receiver. Please don't let him get away, Jaguars.
Yeah, a couple of things. He's a number 3 receiver, and he's clearly the number 3 guy on this roster. When everybody's healthy, it's Cole, Shenault. I mean, it's Chark, Shenault, and Cole. It's not too early to re-sign him. What you don't know with Keelan Cole, and this is just the nature of the NFL, you don't know what he's going to want. He's going to be a free agent after this season. You don't know what his target number is going to be in terms of what he wants financially, in terms of what he thinks he can get. If it's a reasonable amount for what you think he is, which is a third guy in a very good three receiver scheme, then by all means. If, and I have no reason to think, Keelan Cole is having a good year. He should try to maximize his earning potential. He may believe that he can go somewhere and be a 2 and have a chance for more than that. So you've got to figure out what you think he is compared to what he thinks he is. He's good. What do you want to pay him? So, but it's not too early, and they should explore it, but they've got to figure out where he fits.
They've got the salary cap room to do whatever they want, but I'll remind everybody that he was an undrafted rookie free agent. You find receivers there, that's the easiest position to find. There are athletic guys who can run and jump all over America in colleges playing wide receiver. You can find these guys. And you drafted Laviska Shenault in the second round, and I think he's got special qualities. So he is going to be your 2. So how much are you willing to pay for a 3 when you found him at Kentucky Wesleyan? Go find another one before you overpay.
Right, definitely going to have to meet in the middle there with those contract talks, and probably this offseason that will happen. All right, let's go to Atlantic Beach. Scott brings us home. Coaches want to win for their record and resume. It's better for the Jaguars to draft number 1 or number 2. Does that not put their interest at odds?
Well, it puts the fans' interest with the coaching staff at odds, perhaps. And I get this question a lot, and my answer is always, well, is the solution to go out and hire a coach who wants to lose? So I get the question, but there's just no reasonable answer to it. So, yeah, if you're hoping the Jaguars lose, then having a coach who desperately wants to win is at odds. But I sure don't want a coach who isn't taking the approach of Doug Marrone, which is that he's doing everything possible and doing an incredible job getting a okay roster at best to compete and fight and almost beat a good team last week and almost beat the Texans. He's doing a great job. Do you want him not to do a great job? So I get the sentiment, but it's sort of a silly question at its core.
Well, the question's a little skewed by the Jaguars situation because both Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone said before the season began they didn't have time for rebuilding. In other words, we all know that their jobs are on the line this season. Now, we don't know what Shad's going to do, but they gave us that indication that they felt like they didn't have time. Normally what you have is the odds between a general manager and a coach. A coach always has to think about winning right now because coaches' jobs are more finite. They are more micro-focused on the week at hand, and the general manager's job is to have that view from 20,000 feet and always looking at the big picture. Just look at the Jets as a better example, right? Adam Gase is sure to be fired when this season is done. I don't find a win anywhere on their roster or on their schedule. They're likely to end up 0-16. But Joe Douglas, the new general manager, he's got time. And he's going to get to hire his own coach and hire his own and draft his own quarterback, it appears. Well, in that case, you've got the interest at odds because Adam Gase is trying to save anything he can, and Joe Douglas is saying it doesn't really matter. I'd rather have the number 1 pick, right? That's kind of how it normally works. But you've got a coach and a general manager here in Jacksonville who've told us they don't think they have the time to rebuild. So
right.
It can go both ways.
It can. 2 different examples, and as of here in Jacksonville, Dave Caldwell, Doug Marrone on the same page this season. All right, that is OZONE Snapshot. When we come back, some closing thoughts here on Jags Drive Time.
With over 100 years of experience, Duval Motor Company knows experience counts, both on the field and under the hood. That's why all of their service departments are staffed by certified professionals who take pride in servicing any make and model, not just the vehicles they sell. Keeping your vehicles on the road is what drives Duval Motor Company. They know how much you depend on your car, and you can depend on them to put service first. Any make, any model, any location. DuvalMotorCompany.com. Dreamfinders Homes has a simple commitment to their home buyers. Deliver unsurpassed quality, uncompromising value, and an extraordinary level of customization you simply won't find with other home builders. With over 40 communities to choose from, you'll find a location you love and the home of your dreams. Dreamfinders has townhomes, single-family homes, and custom estate homes starting from the high 100s and a wide selection of move-in ready homes. Quality, value, customization. That's the Dreamfinders difference. Call 904-738-0165 or online at dreamfindershomes.com. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prices subject to change without notice. Equal housing opportunity.
Oi.
Bonjour.
Xin chào.
Добрый день.
كيف فينا نساعدكم?
¿Cómo te podemos ayudar?
If you have an accident, the last thing you should have to worry about is a language barrier. That's why at Farah & Farah, we have a team as diverse as our clients. So no matter what language you speak, we'll fight for your voice. Farah & Farah, here for you.
نحن هون للكل.
Ici pour vous.
Aquí para todos.
Here for all. Jacksonville.
Back on Jags Drive Time Wednesday, Duval Motor Group. Coming up, an offensive day here in Jagland. We have Doug Marone at 9 o'clock. We have Jay Gruden around lunchtime on Jaguars.com Live. We have quarterback Jake Luton and running back James Robinson right after practice. And then we are back here tomorrow morning taking a deeper dive into the Steelers game on Jags Drive Time. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. We will see you there.